Hey guys, today I have a fun winter project for you. We are going to be making a drawing of a winter landscape. A landscape is a picture of land. So in this case, it's some snowy mountains and some snowy fields in front. It could also be of a desert or plains or fields or things like that. Basically just a picture of the land outside in nature. It's not a picture inside, it's not a picture of a city, it's a landscape. And also something cool about this landscape picture that we're going to be doing is that we're going to be creating some perspective in the picture. And perspective means that it looks three-dimensional and also like there is space within the picture. So if you look at this one, it looks like there's trees up close and it gets further and further away with the big mountains in the background. We're going to be doing some techniques to get that perspective where it looks like things are closer and further away, and I'll show you how to do all those things. What you'll need is a white piece of paper, or a lined paper works if that's all you have. And then you definitely need a black marker or a black color pencil to do all these things here. A crayon could work as well. And then you need either crayons or color pencils to do your sunset / sunrise in the sky. So just make sure you get those supplies and then we can get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw this a little bit wavy line for kind of the top layer of our snow for the ground. And you want to do this below the middle of the paper. So about here is good. And I'm just going to wiggle it a little bit so it looks kind of lumpy like snow. And then we're going to make these different hills and valleys so we get that perspective. So see, this one kind of angles down, this one curves over, and then there's another one that goes into it. So I'm gonna kind of just do the same thing I did on this one, but you can of course change it a little bit. If you feel unsure, then just kind of copy how I did it. But here on this side, I'm gonna have it angled down just a little bit. So see, there's more space here and less space here. And then on this side, I'm gonna have a hill that goes up and then down, and then one on the other side that kind of just connects into it. So we have some different levels for our trees to go in. Before we do our trees, we're gonna do our mountain. So these lines here help create a shadow, but you wanna just look at this top line and notice how it does have little points, but it's not super defined on the very top line. So I'm gonna do a line that kind of goes out and then a little point like that. And then real quickly, we'll go back up and do another one with just a little point. Maybe this one a little lower, and another point, and then one more. So that's the start for our mountains. Now we're gonna make these shadow sides to give it that kind of perspective and make them look a little more three-dimensional. So this part is a little tricky, but not too bad. What you want to do, I'm going to start with this one here, is go right at the top of the point. Whether it's really pointy or rounded, just look for the top and do a line that for the most part is going straight up and down, but it can be a little bumpy. And then you're going to have it angle up and it goes into the lowest part of the bend between the two tops. So it's going to angle back up, and I like it to be bumpy, and it stops right at the lowest point of these, between these two bumps, okay? I'm going to do that for all of them. On this one, I'm going to have a little piece kind of cut out. You can do that if you want it to just have a little more extra dimension to it. But this one goes down and then angles up and touches right at the lowest point. If you want to add these extra little wiggly shapes, you can. And then inside each of these, you're going to do diagonal lines and just take your time making sure that they all are going the same angle. So you don't want them going all different directions. They all are going the same direction. They're angling this way. All right, so we have our mountains kind of finished. They look three-dimensional now. And now we're gonna work on adding that kind of distance by adding our trees. So the closer something is to you when you're looking at a landscape, the closer it is, the bigger it is. Also, if it's closer, it's gonna be lower on the picture. So notice these trees that are far away are both small and they're much higher up on the picture. These trees that are close are bigger and they're also much lower. So what I like to do is I like to start by adding a few trees to each level, and I just do a straight line for the middle of the tree. So for example, this one here, if I'm going to add that, I'm going to do a line that goes straight up and down like that. Now I want to do some that are even closer that are at the bottom of the canvas. So these are going to be straight up and down, but I'm going to make them a little bit longer. Or you could add a shorter tree that's closer. Okay. It is okay for the line to overlap another level. Now when I go up to this level, I'm going to do straight up and down lines, but notice that they're quite a bit shorter than the ones I did before. And I recommend starting with not a ton, because you can always add more. These ones up here are going to be the shortest. Okay, now I'm going to add my branches. So with my black marker or whatever you have handy, I'm going to start at the top, kind of doing two curved lines. It almost looks like an arrow. And then I'm going to keep adding more, and each time I add it, it gets a little bit longer and longer so that we get that shape that pine trees have, where they look kind of like a triangle when you look at them from far away. When you do the other side, you can try to make sure that you don't have one side way longer than the other. So kind of try to match it up, make them have some symmetry. Okay, so this one's done, and it is totally okay to leave empty spaces between the branches. I think it actually looks better that way, especially for the ones that are close, because in real life, you would be able to see through the branches. You wouldn't just be a solid block. I'm going to go through and add more to these ones that are up close. Now, as I'm doing these trees that are smaller, especially these ones up here, they will probably get pretty solid, and that's okay. So don't feel like if there's not a lot of space between the branches up high, you're doing it wrong. It's just these ones are so little that they just get kind of smushed. But I'm gonna finish my smaller trees that are gonna look a little bit more solid with the branches, and that's okay. Okay, so I'm all done with my trees. And then the last thing I'll show you how to add with Sharpie is the deer, if you want to add it. It's not necessary, but of course I think it looks really cool. So I'm gonna do it here. The closer you make it, the more details you would want to add. That's why I put it kind of in the middle, so I can keep it simple, but if it's too far up, then it's gonna be really hard to see. So I'm gonna put it right here. Starting with the head, it's a little oval like this. Then the neck is two lines that get a little bit bigger at the bottom. And the body is shaped like an oval. So you can fill that in. Then for the legs, just kind of 4 lines. And then 2 little ears. And actually, I'm gonna make the face a little bit longer. There we go, that looks much better. And then for the antlers, right next to each ear, I do a line that goes up and kind of curves out like that. Up and curves out. Now this is way bigger than their antlers are in real life. Maybe it's a moose, but I just think it looks cool, so I did it that way. And then added little curves up the line like that. So now I'm all done drawing my trees, my landscape, my deer, everything. And you can see the perspective. See how it looks like this is this big, vast landscape and that you could really like walk for hours to get to the top of the mountain and stuff. So I think that's cool. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna create the sky. So this kind of has like a sunset, sunrise effect where the colors are changing from one to the next. Especially in winter, you notice the sky. I mean, sometimes it's just all white, but sometimes you get to see like really beautiful sky in winter. So what you want to do is pick out your colors for your sky. And I really recommend you choose 3 colors at least that are similar to each other. On this one, I did pink, purple, and then like a different shade of purple. And I think there's actually like a magenta in there too. On this one, I'm gonna do blue, green, and purple. And I'm actually going to take my picture and turn it for right now. Just put it on top. So decide which color is going to go where. I'm gonna do the green closest to the mountains. And with a crayon or color pencil, with marker it doesn't work so well. You're going to kind of do horizontal sections of each color. Okay. Notice how I didn't press hard. That's important. You don't want to press hard. You want it to be light. Now the top of this line, I'm going to just do like a quick, sketchy line over it so that it's not super straight. Okay. And then I'm going to go to my blue next. And I'm going to again do like another section. But when I get down to the green, I'm going to kind of scribble over the edge of it and go into it a little bit. So instead of creating these straight solid sections, I'm kind of scribbling my color into it to make it look like it is fading from green to blue. And then at the top, again, I kind of create that sketchy, uneven edge. And then lastly, I go in with my purple. And with that, I'm all finished with my winter landscape picture. I love the sky. I think it adds a lot. And even though it's kind of a simple drawing in that it doesn't have much color here at all, it's still really beautiful to look at. So just take your time adding in your little details. Maybe you want to add some different animals as silhouettes in there. And then, you know, take your time blending your colors for the sky so that you get that nice effect.
Well guys, I hope you had fun making your winter landscapes with me. What I think is really cool about this picture is that despite the fact we left more than half of it uncolored, it just looks so cool and interesting in the end after you color in your sky. So I would love to see what you made, and I will see you guys for our next drawing video. Bye!